right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. When I pray, I feel my heart go deeper, my heart go deeper into my high God. When I pray, I feel my heart my God. When I pray, I feel my heart go deeper, my heart go deeper into my high God. When I pray, I feel my heart go deeper, my heart go deeper into my high God. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. Right here, I pray. When I pray, I feel my heart go deeper, my heart go deeper into my high God. When I pray, I feel my heart go deeper, my heart go deeper into my high God. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. I can feel God's mighty power and God's grace. There's a holy hush around us. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place.
Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. Surely the very presence of your spirit resides in you. At this time, I invite you to welcome Spirit in. Open the door. Hear the knock. And let Spirit in. Hear the knock. Listen closely, and you will hear the knock of love, the knock of peace, the knock of abundance. Open your door wide. Don't just crack it open and peek through it. Throw it open. Allow all the abundance that Spirit has for you to come in. Let go of limitations, of what you think you can't do. And know that with God, all things are possible. And so as you feel the abundance of prosperity that comes with good health, soundness of mind, an open heart, love for your fellow man, and most of all, the wisdom to know that these things, all these things, are yours. Feel the abundance of spirit. Know how rich you are. And as you take all these abundance of wisdom from God and apply it to your life, you stand tall. You have a knowing. You have the desire to continue on. You allow no thing to come between you and this knowing. Keep the door open while knowing and know that you know that it can only be shut by you. relax, sit back, and devour your blessings for a moment.
Welcome. Oh, what a nice, I always feel so relaxed after that. I mean, thank God I have on support hose to keep me standing here. You just get so relaxed and get so into this. Well, as Kevin said, and thank you, Kevin, for that warm introduction, and thank you, Spirit Band, and all of our help, Rachel and John, all that make this unity so special. I mean, they're my support too. Thank you for being here. Well, I am, as Kevin mentioned, I am Reverend Judith. Many call me Rev J, and I'm inviting you to my spiritual kitchen where we are going to stir up some ingredients to raise your grease too, but yeast. We're going to make this work, right? Helping me to concoct this prosperity recipe are two musicians. And if you all would just stand, our singer Missy Peckham, and she is, yay. She and I are taking Reverend Dale's prosperity class, and that's where I discovered her. I take all. Oh no, God led her to me. Yes, thank you. And many of you may know my husband, Sanford Jones, who was the choir director. He was the choir director here for 12 years. So, welcome back, honey. All right, let's get this stirred up. Put a little love in here, too. Got to stir this up. The first ingredient in the prosperity consciousness recipe is always putting God first. When I put God first, I know God will lead me and surround me. So I begin in the morning by repeating, "This is the day the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. I look up into the hills, from whence cometh my help." So I train my brain to do that, to wake up saying a scripture. You can also, I can also do affirmations, "I'm strong today," or as Charles Fillmore, one of the co-founder of Unity, at age 90 said, "I fairly sizzle with zeal for all that I need to do today." He might not have been so sizzling, but he put it in. That was his affirmation to get him going. He also would claim divine order. And so he thought you had to put an action back of your words. And so what he said to his wife, Myrtle, I will make the bed. And she was glad to give that up. But that's where he gave the command of divine order is operating in my life now, as he made the bed, because he put an action behind his words. Okay. Another way to put God first is to bless our money. Well, I'm skipping pages here. Oh, now I know. This does remind me of a story of, usually I do close the day with affirmations, with gratitude lists. I usually list about 5 things I'm grateful for. But it's during the day, guys, that I sometimes have a problem. I forget about God. I start doing this stuff in my head, mulling. I know, take time, go back to God. I'm still working on it. That's why I'm back in class with Dale. But this reminds me of a story. Sanford and I were employed at a school where we really didn't get along. Well, the policies of the school weren't really what we thought they should be. But do I leave my job, go without any income? What do I do? Well, we happened to be at Unity Village taking classes there. So we discussed our situation with another Unity person who helped us see that everything was okay. So we took the big lunge or plunge and went out on our own. Now, some of you don't know this, but my husband is a composer, and I'm a choreographer. So together we formed this company. Well, this is the company we formed. We decided to call it Youth Opera USA. And we offered services to schools. The other thing that happened was that Sanford notified some Montessori schools, because he is a Montessori trainer and teacher also. Within 6 weeks, we were booked for the year. We do children's operas where we go into a school system for 5 days, and at the end of the 5 days, the children put on an opera. I'm the choreographer, and he's the musician and trains the children in singing. Okay, we did this for 10 years. We used to do 22 operas in 1 year. We just rent out our home, travel all day on Saturday, do laundry on Sunday. Well, we'd go to church and then work all day. Well, anyway, so we did that for 10 years. But I said, with the title Youth Opera USA, I think we've limited ourselves. Need to put in a few more ingredients here, So I came up with the title Youth Opera International. I'm broadening my scope. And words have power. Thoughts are things, and we draw to us what we think about. That's why during the day if I start getting that going on, I need to sit down, do these wonderful meditations, remind myself of who is in charge. Well, anyway, within a couple of years, we are just basically word of mouth. We started getting calls, though. We have done workshops in Moscow, Russia, in Bermuda. We went there at least 3 times. Lucerne, Switzerland, San Jose, Costa Rica, and Ontario, Canada. So our scope has opened up, and
I would just like to interject something here. Just this week, Judith gets way ahead of me, life was ahead of me. She said, Sanford, I've been working on this talk, and there's another part that hasn't materialized, but I know if we pray about it, we should change the title of our company to Youth Opera Mars. We'll see.
Universal.
Well, thank you, honey. Well, speaking of operas, though, I think it's time for us to hear some of the music from one of Sanford's operas. This is called Green is Our Garden, and it's from his opera, Persephone, the Greek myth Persephone. So let us welcome Missy and Sanford singing and playing Green is Our Garden.
This was the very first opera that Sanford wrote. Green is our garden and fair is the earth. Blossoms and flowers do fill us with mirth. Morning brings freshness and dew covers the grass. Barefoot and carefree goes each lad and lass. Crocus and daffodil, cherry and peach, apples and oranges within every reach. Month upon month life brings forth new birth. Green is our garden and fair is the earth. Seed time to harvest, the earth waxes fair, full of fresh water and full of fresh air. Forest and meadow bring forth of their kind, bouquets of flowers upon every vine. Roses and violets in sun and in shade, pine on the mountainside and dogwood in the glade. Month upon month life brings forth new birth. Green is our garden and fair is the earth.
Certainly an ingredient for prosperity is music. Yes, yes. Well, we are so blessed with all the greenery we have here in Savannah. The beautiful trees, our courtyard. We give thanks for Wendy for all the work she does to create those beautiful, create with God those beautiful flowers and all. However, today we thought, in honor of Labor Day, that we would sing a song called, what is it?
Whistle while you work.
Thank you. And so all those that would like to stand and join in, the words are going to be up here on Whistle While You Work. And just a note to remind you that the first Labor Day was in 1882 and was actually a march. It was a march to protest child labor, which by 1884, it was now labor unions had been formed, and they pronounced this day to honor all of the workers. So, happy Labor Day, and to lift your spirits from feeling labor to lightness, we're going to sing our song. Well,
I was 4 years old when I first heard this song. It was in the Seven Dwarf film, Disney, back in the early 40s. And since then, I have heard many people say, if I go to the bank or a store, oh, thank God it's Friday. Well, I didn't know what that meant as a younger person. But then I realized that many people think of their work as laborious rather than as energizing. So I think that's the charm of this song, is that no matter if you're doing something that's a little boring or a little tedious, if you whistle while you work. So we're going to ask Kyle to do the whistle. I'll sing it first. He's going to whistle. You guys listen. Second time through, everybody take a deep breath and sing and whistle with us. This song is so easy because it only uses how many notes? 5 notes. Here we go. Listening first. Oh, you whistle while you work, Kyle. Put on that grin and start right in to whistle while you work. This is the recovery from that. Second verse, and you whistle while you work.
come.
Come on, let's start to up, let's start to whistle while you work. That was the rehearsal. Let's do it. Oh, you whistle while you work. Yeah, man. On that grin and start right in to whistle while you whistle while you work. Come on, let's start to help, let's start to whistle while you work. Good job.
Great. Another way, another ingredient is to bless your money. You know, money's not a bad thing. We need it, don't we? Yes, we do. However, I want to remind you, though, that everything in life is free. Good. Let's think about that, though. I know you're saying, well, I have to pay for this, I have to pay for that, blah, 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 blah. However, think about the cotton in your shirt. That came from a seed that was freely given by God. The water that flows, free from God. Even the asphalt on the streets was originally from a product of oil, which is free. So when we are paying our bills, what we are paying for is not so much the product, it's the labor, it's people. We are paying human beings. So that's the reason, bless your money. Bless your bills as they come in and as you give them out, because you're blessing people. You're raising your consciousness as you raise the consciousness of others. Don't be afraid of money. Money's not a bad thing or a good thing. It's what you think about it. Oh, that reminds me of a story. Oh, let me stir it up here. Get my memory going, too. There were 2 bills at a mint, and they were in a tray, conveyor tray, coming out of the mint. One was a $1 bill, and one was a $20 bill. So they're going down this tray. The $1 bill looks over and says, "Hi, I'm George. What's your name?" And they're going down. And the $20 bill looks up and says, well, my name is Andrew Jackson, but you can call me Andy. Well, and he says, well, my full name is George Washington, but you can call me George. And they keep going. And he said, oh, how do you like our new suit? Oh, I love it. It's green. I love being in this color of green. Yeah, it's nice and crisp. So they're going down the conveyor belt. They come to the end, and it separates. So the dollar bill, George says, goodbye, have a good life. And the $20 bill says, yeah, you have a good life too, and off they go. 20 years later, they end up in a cash register, side by side. In fact, it was in our bookstore, the Unity cash register. And George looks over the edge and says, oh, hi there, Andy, remember me? We came out of the mint together. And the $20 bill, Andrew says, yes, I remember you. And George says, well, how was your life, Andy? And Andy says, I had a fabulous life. I went to go to the Savannah banana games. I've gone to musicals. I've been to operas. I've just had a wonderful life. Oh, I've been on cruises, and the aroma of the food, oh, it's out of this world. I have had such a great life. And the $20 bill looks over at the $1 bill and says, what? Well, how's your life been? The $1 bill thinks for a moment, and he says, church, church, church. Well, for me, when I was at Unity Village taking classes, tithing came up. And Debbie Tyson, my teacher, suggested tithing, giving 10%. Tithe means 10. To give 10% of any income, any money that comes to you, to give it first to wherever you get your spiritual nourishment. Well, I'm telling you, this is how the class looked. Like deer in the headlights, stunned sort of. Well, she went on to say, well, now, we don't press tithing here at Unity, but we do suggest it. However, it is a spiritual law. I went, a spiritual law? That's why I'm here. Why would I not do what you're suggesting? So, for me, tithing was easy. I know in Edwene Gaines' book, she gave it 6 months. So, she was not so sure about this thing. Bring the full tithe into the storehouse, that there may be food in my house. Thereby put me to the test, says the Lord of hosts, if I will not open the windows of heaven for you and pour down for you an overflowing blessing. From Malachi 3:10. God offers us the opportunity to test this whole thing, to test God. It's the only place in the Bible that I understand that says you can test me. God promises an overflowing blessing. Actually, giving 10% is just the training wheels for practicing your faith and knowing that you cannot outgive God. It's okay to give more than 10%, Honor the Lord with your wealth and with the first fruits of all your produce. Then your barn will be filled with plenty, and your vats will be bursting with wine. And that is from Proverbs 3, verses 9 through 10. During biblical times, people honored God by giving the best of their crops, the best crops, the first crops, to the priest for the maintaining the temple. This was an agricultural society. Today, bringing the first fruits would be to first tithe, then pay our bills. This practice will enhance our belief that God will supply every need, and remember to bless our offering. Well, today, we have a special guest. It's not a guest. He's been with us for so many years. He's a member of the board, and he's going to give his testimony about tithing. May I welcome Cherry to do this.
Am I on here? You don't need the mic, Cherry. That's right, baby, that's right. When I was a kid, and I used to see different shows, does anybody remember Gilligan's Island? Yes. Who remember Gilligan's Island? You remember, every time Thurston Howell III would faint, he would be laying on the ground, and his wife would have to take money, and she would wave it in front of him, and he would come back, and he would go, money, money. Then there was another one called the Dukes of Hazzard. Now, who remembers Boss Hogg? You know, Boss Hogg loved money. Anyway, one day, Roscoe, who was the sheriff, said, "Boss, the root of all evil is money." And Boss Hogg said, "No, Roscoe, the lack of money is the root of all evil." But those are the two shows that I remember where money was so prevalent, was Gilligan's Island and the Dukes of Hazzard. Now, when I first started Unity, I was in bankruptcy because I came to Unity through a 12-step program. So anyway, Reverend Arlene was here, Reverend Dale was here, Reverend Judith, and Rev Ev, and they're all talking about tithing. And when they mentioned tithing, I went like this. Because I said, wait a minute, I'm in bankruptcy. I can't afford to be doing no tithing. Well, anyway, I said, but I'm going to try it. So I started tithing. Now, when I started tithing, two things happened, and they weren't good at the time. But these two things were, one, I had to have 2 knee surgeries. The first one I planned for. The second one I did not. So, of course, I couldn't work. So this meant I couldn't work either one of my jobs. So I'm sitting here and I'm panicking, how am I going to pay my bills? And I took it to Reverend Dale. I said, Rev, this is not the deal that we made. God and you told me that if I tithe, I would get money. Instead, it looks like I'm losing money. And Rev Dale said, it's going to be okay, Cherry. I said, all right. So I had the second surgery and I still was not working, but I was still tithing. The second thing that was happened was I got a letter from Iris. Now, Iris, I call her Iris because that's how I interpret her. But Iris was the IRS. So once again, I go to Reverend Dale. I'm like, this is not the deal we made, Rev. I thought if I started tithing, I would not have these issues. See, because I did not know it meant work from me too. Because see, I want to give it to God and say he'll do everything, unknowing to me that I'm going to have to do something too. This is a commitment, and Cherry does not like hard work and commitment. I just don't like doing that. So anyway, the first thing that happened was I took this letter from the IRS to my bankruptcy attorney, and I also took the letters from my mortgage company because I was falling behind, because I'm burning through my savings account, because unfortunately I was not released to go back to work. I was still in physical therapy, so I was burning through my savings account. But I said, I'm still gonna tithe anyway. And I'm going to Reverend Dale, I'm talking to Rev Ev, I'm just talking to everybody, but I'm not talking to God. So I talked to my mom and she said, have you prayed about it? I said, well, no. She said, well, fool, pray about it. So I prayed about it. And what happened after that was I kept tithing. I kept going. So the first thing that happened was my mortgage company called me and they said, you know what? Don't worry about those payments. They've been removed. They said, we're giving you an awesome interest rate. You just pick right back up where you left off. Don't worry about it. You've been accustomed with us. Everything will be okay. And I said, all right. So I told Reverend Dale about that. I said, thank you, God. But I still had to deal with Iris. So I get this box and I go to H&R Block. You know, get a piece of the rock. So I go to H&R Block and I get there and I'm sitting there and the lady says, give me what you got. So I hand her 4 years of tax returns because the reason the IRS was hounding me was because I hadn't filed, thinking that I owed all this money. So I'm panicking. And the lady, she's sitting there. We've got 2 big screens with my name and social security number on both of them. And she starts tabulating. She's just beating that thing to death. And I'm looking at her and I'm shaking. I'm sweating. And she says, when that number stops, tell me what it is. I'm going to get some coffee. And I'm like, you going to get coffee? What? You going to get coffee? Look at that number. And that thing was just tabulating. And it was just going to town. And I'm sweating and shaking. And that number stopped on $4,500. And I'm fainting. I'm like, that's what I owe them? She said, no, that's what they owe you. So I go back to my bank's attorney and I'm thinking that the IRS is going to take this money. She said, no, that is your money. I've taken care of the other part. That is your part. That is your money. And I'm thinking, yeah, everything is going to be good. So I get that money. But of course, when you owe the IRS, they want it right then. They owed me, it took 60 to 90 days. So finally, I got my money from the IRS. And all this happened within 2 years. But in fact, when I got that money from the IRS, I think that's when Reverend Dale and I went to Sweet Potatoes and ate up all their fried chicken. But Reverend Dale loves fried chicken. He loves sweet potatoes too. But I tithed some of that too. Well, another thing that happened was I was getting these accounts, these letters from Voya. And I'm like, I don't even know who Voya is. And they were calling me saying, we need to talk to you about your account. Well, when people want to talk to me about an account, that means I'm delinquent. That means they want some of my money. And I said, I'm not calling them people. So finally, I answered the phone. And the people told me, they said, no, Mr. Cherry, we are let me get it right, a 403B. When you left your last job, you didn't leave us any contact information or anything, and this money is just sitting here with thousands of dollars in it. What do you want to do? And I'm like, here I am running from these people, and they're trying to tell me you have money. I'm like, wow. So then the last thing that happened was, as I told you, I was in bankruptcy. Now, I love the Dukes of Hazzard. Now, my bankruptcy attorney called me, and she said, if you can get here today before noon, we can stop this bankruptcy and you can get your whole check. I was out that day. I was at my house. I pulled out of that yard. I was drifting that Saturn. I got on 204. If I couldn't get around this Prius, I was going to ram her and push her off the road. I pulled into the lawyer's office. I didn't even turn the car off. I stopped right in front of the door, ran in, signed those papers. I tore out to Memorial. I pulled in the parking lot on 2 wheels. It was 11:49 when I got there. I got up the steps. It was 11:55. I put that paperwork on her desk, and that bankruptcy stopped. The whole time I kept on tithing. Now, it was difficult at times because I was like, I don't have the money for this. But I said, I got to keep on doing it. And you know what? Things worked out. Now, Reverend Judith said something about blessing your bills. I can't bless Georgia Power. I don't like them. I can't bless them. But Reverend Judith, you said bless them. So next week, I'll be blessing Georgia Power. Thank y'all.
Thank you. So good. Thank you. Oh, what a blessing. Remember that you are blessing the people that handle that check. It's not just some vague thing. It's people. Okay, that was just so wonderful. Well, let's I need to stir in a little more things in here. My recipe's getting fuller and fuller, but it's not going to be complete. And we have lots of books about Raising Your Prosperity Consciousness in our bookstore. So you're welcome to go in there and buy some. I was thinking about something, though. I was doing this during. Maybe it's in my... Oh, Happy Mama. Yeah. Okay. Anyway. So I have one more ingredient, which is our imagination. In Unity, you know, we have the 12 faculties that we locate within our body. Imagination's right here, our third eye. And one of the ways, and Dale mentioned this at the last time he was speaking, about how it takes, I'll say, 3 moves to accomplish something. First, we think about something, then we probably draw a plan or make goals, and then we complete it, whether it's making a desk or whatever. Usually it's the 2 that lead into the final product. And one of the tools we use is called a vision board. Now, I know from a distance you can't see all the things on this, but you put on things that remind you of your goals. For me, as you can see, it's really mainly family. I want my family to be happy and prosperous. And at the top, I have a picture of Jesus to bless, and the angels to bless everything, my family, and then words that mean something for me. And then we know that we need money. So I have a representative of a $100 bill. Anyway, I'll put this out front, and if you want more details about it, it's just a good tool to use to keep yourself thinking forward. You know, we always have to move forward. As a mover, I know that, and vision forward. If God really wanted us to move backwards or to look back all the time, maybe looking with regret or whatever, he would have put eyes in the back of our head. He put them in the front to keep us moving forward. All right, let's stir this up again. We're going to end today's talk and our recipe with our ingredients of our musicians as they sing another song from Sanford's operas. This is from Hiawatha, honey?
Harlequin.
Harlequin. And it's called Dreams.
Dreams are the fruit on the tree of our imagination, and the flower children of our love. Leave the door open for the seller of dreams to give you a vision of a mind child yet unborn. There's a magic in dreaming that wakes us up to living, and a little bit of rain doesn't wash the dream away, for there's light at the end of every single tunnel. There's a rainbow at the end of every rainy day. Dreams are the yet to be spun out threads of the future, and the tapestries are stories. Leave the door open for the seller of dreams to give you the fabric for a dream carpet for your soul. There's a magic wicked dreaming that wakes us up to living, and a little bit of rain doesn't wash the dream away. For there's light at the end of every single tunnel. There's a rainbow at the end of every rainy day. First the rain, then the sun, then the rainbow. A little bit of rain, a little bit of magic.
Thank you, Missy. Thank you, Stanford. Give them another round of applause. And thank you, Reverend Judy. And thank you, Cherry, so much for your testimony. Give it up for Cherry.
My tools here in case you want to move.
Right, so now please affirm with me our 5 unity principles. Together, there is only one power, one presence in our lives and in the universe, God. We are the Christ of God in expression. Next. Thoughts plus feelings equal outcome. There is power in affirmative prayer and meditation, and we must live the truth we know. And as Reverend Judy and Cherry explained to us, one way we live the truth we know is by giving. I'm going to invite Rev Ev up here to give our tithing prayer.
At this time, I invite you to take your love offering substance that we call money. I invite you to take it and put it in your left hand. Cover it with your right. And the reason you do that is because your love offering comes from your heart chakra. And so, because the amount is insignificant, what is important is the love. And so, as you feel, as you give the blessing to be able to give, you want to know and know that you know how blessed you are. And so we invite the ushers to go forth and allow you to express your love.
I am thankful, so grateful in this moment right now. I am thankful, so grateful right here, right now. I am thankful, so grateful in this moment right now. I am thankful, so grateful right here, right now.
Dear Heavenly Mother, Father God, we thank you for this abundance. We know that as it blesses this community, it will go out into the outer community, into the universe, and return to us 1,000-fold. And we will say our offertory blessing together as we remember this. Divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I am grateful.
I am thankful, so grateful in this moment right now. I am thankful, so grateful right here, right now.
And in the consciousness of being thankful and grateful, we are definitely grateful for our first-time visitors. And we want to take this opportunity to recognize you and show you some love. So if you are a first-time visitor, could you please raise your hand so we can give you a gift packet and show you some love? Everybody, let's show our first-time visitors how we love on them. Ready, set, go. We love you. We bless you. We appreciate you. And we behold the light of Christ shining as you. We want to invite you to go ahead and go to the bookstore and get your free gift. And as you know, Reverend Dale is traveling, so let's show him some love for his safe travels as he does the work of God in the Unity Movement. Reverend Dale, we love you. We bless you. We appreciate you. And we behold the light of Christ shining as you. Thank you, Reverend Dale. Children, we love you. Come on in. The mind. Oh,
I'm gonna let it shine.
this little light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Let us together collectively bless our children. God loves you and accepts you just the way you are. And I love you and accept you just the way you are. I see the Christ in you. Now receive from them.
God loves you and accepts you.
Thank you, thank you. She loves the microphone. Thank you, children. Thank you, children. And today is the first day of September. And if you're celebrating a birthday this month or an anniversary, we want to invite you to come on up so we can sing happy birthday to you. Any birthdays? Yes. Birthday. And anniversary as well. Come on up. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, you're wonderful. Happy birthday to you.
God is
blessing you now. God is blessing you now. God is blessing you, you're wonderful. God is blessing you now. All right. And there is some cake next door. All right, so let us all join together. Yes, let's join together, hold hands, and sing our benediction song.
Let
there be peace.
Peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was there to me. When I as our mother, and we all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. Take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. The light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever